Welcome back, everyone. A Chicago man has filed a class action lawsuit against American restaurant and sports bar franchise Buffalo Wild Wings, accusing the restaurant of conducting, quote, deceptive business practices, claiming that its boneless wings are basically just chicken nuggets. The plaintiff alleges that customers would pay less or not order the boneless wings if they knew the product was actually made of chicken breast meat, deep fried like wings. The lawsuit says this is a case of false advertising and customers should be able to rely on the meaning of the product's name and receive what they are promised. And to that, Buffalo Wild Wings has responded to this suit saying, quote, "It's true. Our boneless wings are all white meat chicken. Our hamburgers contain no ham. Our buffalo wings are 0% buffalo." All right, this is a very serious crime, so we're going to bring in criminal defense attorney and host of the Nothing But the Truth podcast, Bob Bianchi. Bob, this Buffalo Wild Wings doesn't seem to be taking this lawsuit seriously, tweeting out, having a little bit of fun with it. Is that a sign that it's not a serious lawsuit?
Well, Addison, I was hoping that I was going to be able to deliver that tweet to you. But yeah, obviously, I mean, no lawyer that's really worried about a lawsuit is writing something down that there's no ham in their hamburgers and no buffalo in their buffalo wings. So, look, I mean, it is what it is, whether or not technically it's going to be a viable suit or not. I don't know. You have people that go out and they try to find these little things and file under the consumer fraud statute. So no, to answer your question directly, I don't think the lawyers are taking it seriously at all.
Yeah, it's he says it's a clear-cut case of false advertising, but yeah, I'm just not sure how convincing that is going to be. And the wings, I mean, I've had the boneless wings. They taste great. I'm not mad. I'm not in the mood to sue Buffalo Wild Wings for giving me a good meal. We will switch gears and talk about something that's perhaps a more serious lawsuit than hot wings. Let's see, Alec Baldwin. We have an update on the Alec Baldwin case, Bob. The special prosecutor handling the case, Andrea Reeb, has stepped down. This after Baldwin's attorneys introduced a motion to remove her because of her state representative status, saying that it was unconstitutional. I know we had you on back when they filed this motion to have her removed, so now she has removed herself.
Yeah, Addison, this is exactly what I said to you last time. The state and the government, whether you like Baldwin or not, are not doing a favor to the victims in this case by, one, not properly investigating the case. Two, motions have now been filed by the defense. One, to throw out the charge that I told you from the beginning was overcharged, and sure enough, a court threw it out. And now the Constitution of their state specifically says that you cannot be a legislator and a prosecutor because there's a conflict of interest in the separation of powers. It's as clear as can be. Yet she continued to go forward with the case when she did not have the jurisdiction or lawful right to do it. The defense files yet another motion, and she basically has to put her tail between her legs and walk away from the case because it's a clear violation of the New Mexican Constitution. What is happening here? I mean, this just is not right. I have no faith in this investigation, no faith in this prosecution, whether you're on one side of this or the other side of it. The fact of the matter is this prosecutor is going to media stations. She's grandstanding. She's going to networks that typically don't like Alec Baldwin. These are all the things that the ethics rules say you should not be doing. That is extrajudicial statements. You got a case, you bring it to court, you make your arguments in court, not outside in the court of public opinion. So she's 3 strikes, she's out.
Now, how could this impact the outcome of this case, do you think?
I think it's going to significantly impact the outcome of the case because the case is already kind of wobbly. It's going off on its axis. You already have a charge thrown out. Now the defense is being given all this great ammunition to say this is a political prosecution by a prosecutor who had to withdraw because she was unlawfully charging the case, had to dismiss a charge. This was just jumping to a conclusion, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is kind of like where the defense wants to be because it's Alec Baldwin, not because of the facts and the law of the case. Addison, this is amateur hour. It's not fair to anybody.
He's obviously facing involuntary manslaughter, could be looking at some prison time. Do you think that charge will be, or could be downgraded. Now, they're obviously going to use this as ammunition, Baldwin's team is. So do you think this involuntary manslaughter, they're going to try to have this thrown out? Or how would that work from a legal perspective?
You know, what I think that they would be doing, and again, this comes from my former prosecutor piece, is I think that they would have a good motion to have a new prosecutor come in and say, or not, maybe not even a legal motion, but make contact with them and say, look, this was politicized from the beginning. What happened here, although a tragedy, is a civil case, not a criminal case. This former state's attorney did this to grandstand politically. We'd like you to take a look at it, because prosecutors have an ethical duty not to go forward with a prosecution unless they believe they have the evidence that proves the case beyond a reasonable doubt. And if things change, and I've had this happen where evidence comes out or a different set of eyes comes on the case and they don't think that they can prove their charge beyond a reasonable doubt, you could see a dismissal of the case. That would be the prosecutor's obligation. So, we'll have to see. But right now, I think that what they're doing, Addison, is they're also creating appellate issues in the case. So should there be a conviction, all of this is like radiation, and eventually it gets to a point where it causes cancer in a case. And that's what the appellate division is for, to say, you know what, we're going to throw this out because it's unfair. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but prosecutors didn't do anybody any favors, victim or Alec Baldwin, by the way they've handled this.
Now, Reeb did give a statement in response to this. I just want to read that. She said, the best way I can ensure justice is served in this case is to step down so the prosecution can focus on the evidence, and the fact would show a complete disregard for basic safety protocols that led to the death of Helena Hutchins. I will not allow questions about my serving as legislator and prosecutor to cloud the real issue at hand. Is there going to be a case where Andrea Reeb could face punishment? Maybe she's relieved of her duties as a state representative. Do you think that there's going to be any repercussions for her?
I do believe so. I mean, I would not be surprised if they file some level of an ethics complaint for a number of reasons, one of which is that she's prosecuting a case when the Constitution clearly says she, as a legislator, cannot do that. Secondly, that statement in and of itself, if I were the defense, I would be arguing this thing called, like I said before, an extrajudicial statement. Prosecutors are not supposed to be giving statements to poison the well, to CYA, whatever you want to call it. It's fine to say that I'm withdrawing from the case, let the facts and evidence in the court. But no, she's going further by saying he's guilty. Prosecutors are not supposed to be doing this, whether you're on one side of the equation or the other side of the equation. We want prosecutors to be fair. So I do think she's going to be looking at some problems with this.
Looks like she might have to lawyer up here soon. Bob Bianchi, great to have you back on the program explaining all of this from a legal perspective. Thank you.
Okay, Addison, thank you.
Well, Robert Kennedy Jr. is going after Dr. Anthony Fauci again, this time accusing him of developing 3 viruses that escaped from U.S. labs in 2014, which is why Fauci allegedly had to move his bioweapons research to the Wuhan lab. This clip I'm about to show you, I can't verify independently, but this is Robert Kennedy Jr. himself speaking, and I think it's worth hearing him out.
The Pentagon was very worried about actually launching a full-blown bioweapons arms race because they said nobody, this is very sketchy. The Patriot Act, exemptions are very sketchy and people don't even know about it. And so they didn't want to do it. So they took the money that Cheney gave them, $2.2 billion, and they funneled it through NIH. And it all went through Anthony Fauci. So beginning in 2002, Anthony Fauci got a 68% raise from the Pentagon for doing bioweapons development.
Elon Musk responded to this. This was put on Twitter. He responded to it, encouraging the Community Notes tab to fact check it. If it's wrong, slap a Community Notes label under it. No such label exists yet currently. No one is able to refute this yet. So that's interesting. Make of that what you will.